lights supposed to be off. Yeah.
Yeah, we got two lights out.
We are dark. All right, we're dark in here, but we're gonna keep going. Welcome to Truth Forum, a forum to discuss truth and the friendly surrounding, like we do at home at the kitchen table. I'm your host, Dr. Smith. I do have the right to perform the songs, the notes, the lyrics, as licensed by BMI. I will lead compelling, relatable, and honest conversations. My guests will range from community leaders and professionals and real people whose stories will touch and inspire you. Discussion will center around relationships and personal struggles and amazing triumphants. We'll even talk about compelling topics in the news. If you'd like to be a guest at the kitchen table, you may call us at 269-282-1490. Email us at kingdombuildersworldwide2@gmail.com. The vision for the show is to catalyze, energize, and bring people together. We want to continue to share things that are extremely essential. We believe that if you're going to be successful, and a lot of this has to do with business and even business opportunities. If we're wise, we know that we go nowhere in ignorance of ourselves. There will be no network unless we know who we are so that we are in the network. And without a network, there will be no power. Let there be light, and there is light. We'll continue to reawakening us as we continue to do everything that we should do. This is what they did in Africa. They came together at night, sat on down, and they began to share stories. It's storytelling time at the kitchen table. I'm glad today, first of all, I recognize our producer, Tiffany Smith, Ronnie Hoyt, Carl English, Michael Campbell. Facebook Live, my son, T2, Chanel McClinney, and Yvonne Armstrong on the cameras, and my co-host, Doug Jones. Guest today, we have the young lady, Brook-Lyn Glass. Let's put our hands together for Brook-Lyn. All right, Brook-Lyn, we've got to get our little notes here. We are happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to spend some time, maybe for the month of August. We're going to do more of the some of the therapeutic concept conversations. When we had to do our dissertation back in the early 90s, they were not on Facebook and they were not in they're in the archives still, but most dissertations you can find online. So mine may be a challenge to find online, but I'm going to use a lot of the actual counseling things that we deal with. I talk to people all the time, and we deal with certain things about just deal with stuff in life. And today we're going to actually talk about guilt and shame. And we're going to encourage you all to kind of participate. And Deacon Jones will have look at the little phone. If you got any conversations you may have on those subjects, I think it's going to be very, very helpful. But today, I am happy to have Miss Brook-Lyn Glass. Tell us about who you are real quickly to the audience. Just your name again, go from there.
My name is Brook-Lyn Glass. I'm the second oldest of 9. I have a 4-year-old. And that's who I am. Mm-hmm.
That sums it up, huh?
That sums it up.
Deacon Jones, how you doing, man?
I'm doing outstanding, Bishop.
Okay.
Outstanding.
We talked in the green room that you were sweating.
Yes.
You're still sweating.
I'm still sweating.
You need my towel.
It's kind of, I got one right here. It's kind of humid.
I didn't get a towel.
If my head and forehead gets a little shiny, I'm just going to wipe it off.
Okay, good. So we're going to talk about, we do have the tissue here just in case DJ or Brook-Lyn may need it. We're going to really continue to dialogue. As you know, last week we had First Lady on the show, and we were talking about how to deal with reconciliation and how to deal with, if there's a mistake, how do you bring it, correct certain problems. Today we're going to really talk about guilt and shame. I'm noticing that there's a lot of people that struggle with a lot of emotional things, and they really don't have the help that we may assume that they have. And so, first of all, when you think of the word guilt, Brook-Lyn, and Deacon Jones. And then when you think of the word shame, Deacon Jones and Brook-Lyn, let me hear what you say. So when you hear the word guilt.
Guilt.
Yes.
When I hear the word guilt, I think of other people.
Other people.
So, not satisfying other people and how other people may feel about a decision I may have made. Versus shame, I'm disappointed in myself. So where others see disappointment in me, I'm disappointed in myself.
What you say about that, D?
Well, I say guilt is like a feeling of wrongdoing. Like if you do something wrong, you have that guilty conscience or guilty feeling, or maybe even a look on your face. People sometimes can tell if you seem guilty about something. And shame is a painful feeling, like when you say you did something that was dishonorable, and you have to face that person that you dishonored, or look that person in the eye. To me, that's that. You get that feeling of shame, that look on your face.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about those things, and we're going to ask you to really participate today. Before we even go there, today we talked about, prior to taking the Lord's Supper, we both was a part of that service. We talked about how the devil is the accuser of the brethren, how he just constantly blames you for everything, right? And so, if you're being blamed all the time, would that fall into guilt or shame? How would you see that?
If I'm being blamed all the time?
They said Brook-Lyn can't do right. Brook-Lyn. Deacon. Never right. Always messing up. Is that considered guilt or shame? And I'm just asking.
I would feel guilty, like I can't do what's expected of me.
Okay. You see it the same way?
Yeah, ask that question one more time.
If someone just constantly blaming you, would you see that as guilt or would you see that as shame?
If they were blaming me for something that I didn't do
Or did.
I would say probably guilt.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit of both. I think it'd be a little bit of both.
So these are some things I put in my dissertation years ago. For whatever reason why I talked about, I have no idea, because I don't know, in my mid-20s, 30s, what I was really going through. But it was just part of the requirement. Shame, when you think about the word shame gives a false sense of power, while guilt produces accountability. Kind of similar to what you said. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw some things out, and then I'm going to listen to my audience and see how they respond to that. Shame gives a false sense of power, while guilt produces accountability. So if you're guilty, it gives you accountability. If you have shame, it gives you a false sense of power. Now, we'll go further on that and note that. So here are the symptoms. If you have shame, okay, if you shame, this is what happens according to our database and research. And you can always interject and say, well, I see it differently. But if I'm talking to you, think about this. You have a spirit of rejection. Anyone that feel like they're being rejected got something to do with shame. They have a critical spirit. Very critical. Very critical. Judgmentalism. Always judging. They have a controlling behavior. And very manipulative. That's what you call a person who has the symptoms of shame. What y'all think about that?
Man, that's interesting.
The camera lady said we disagree. And that's great, baby. The camera lady, which is Chanel McClain, she can clearly come on the show and tell us why she disagreed. But since she's not on the show, we'll continue.
You said that was the characteristics of shame?
Yes, those are the symptoms of being shamed.
Is it because they want to deflect their attention off of them and put it onto someone else?
Shame gives you a false sense of power.
Right.
While guilt is all about accountability. So where we have to ask ourselves is, if I have the spirit of rejection, where that came from? If I have a critical spirit, where that came from? If I'm very judgmental, where that come from? If I have a controlling behavior, where is that coming from? If I'm very manipulative, where is that coming from? How you see that?
I think it has to do with a lot of what they're going through internally. A lot of what they're going through internally projects to, how they handle different situations and different relationships. So if they're very judgmental, maybe it's because they've been judged a million times before.
Okay. Okay. So I know we're not supposed to ask, ladies their age, but you like a daughter age bracket. So where you at, 25?
25.
25. And what kind of work did you do as it relate to just dealing with people? Because you appear to be very confident in this conversation right now.
What kind of work did I do?
Yeah.
Work on myself. Just kind of open up myself more to talking to people.
Okay.
And just being comfortable with people in general.
Now, isn't your grandfather a counselor or something?
Yes, he is.
What's his name?
Keith Matthews.
Keith Matthews, your grandfather.
My grandpa. That's my
Exactly.
papa.
Hey, Keith, Papa, man, give you a shout out. You're doing a great job, and I've been knowing you for years, and we've always connected you to cool people. But that's your wife's side of the family, the Hortons. But you're doing a great job, and keep it up with all the help you're doing with the young people. So we got your granddaughter here, and we're going to kind of talk about, this is your subject. Matter of fact, we need to bring you on the show so you can share.
Hey, why are you not here?
Yeah, share some of your knowledge on this subject. Before we go back to the young lady who blurted out and said she disagreed and without escorting her out to the room, let's go a little further. So watch this. Here we go. So if I am guilt-based, now I just gave you the symptoms of shame, but if I'm guilt-based, meaning I move out of shame. So you can't do both. So if I'm guilt, I'm moving out of my shame. So guilt-based is I leave from being shamed. Here we go. I can make choices. I become accountable and turn around. See, through guilt-based, I can understand grace and mercy. When stuck in shame, I cannot see my value. Shame blames. Guilt owns. See, when you have guilt, then you can own it. When you have shame, you still ain't own it. See, what I will own, I change. Now, what y'all think about that? Whether you agree or not, these are just some of the, in any type of analogies, always what we do is we do case studies. And in case studies, you have, 100 people, and the percentage is high, that becomes the answer. So there's always the minority. That doesn't have to be true. But it's about you evaluating yourself. You gonna say something, Deacon?
No, I was just listening. I was just writing down the definition so I can come back later on and either challenge or
Yeah.
I might take Chanel's stance on some of that, but
Yeah.
But
Well,
we'll keep going.
if we go
as long
back-
as I don't get kicked off the show.
No, you won't get kicked. You're my man.
Escorted out.
But the problem is, I think we have to identify what shame is. Because maybe when we think of shame, we just think of, I'm afraid of something. Shame is a false sense of power.
I agree.
While
Absolutely.
when you have guilt, it produces accountability.
Yeah.
I'm guilty. I'm wrong. I need to fix it.
Right.
Shame is just more like I ain't really trying to, do anything right now.
But honestly, I do agree with you that shame blames and guilt owns. That's true.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
true.
Yes. Yes. So we look at our personal worth, okay? And if there's anybody responding, that's fine. If you got some revelation you want to share, then by all means you can, and we'll read and look into it. But your personal worth is not based on the reflection from a person who is in what I call dysfunction.
Right.
Dysfunction doesn't see reality. How many people do you know that's in this dysfunctional lifestyle? These people who do not see reality.
A lot of the young people that I know. Some older people that I know too.
So explain that with young people. When you said they don't see reality, give an example of people that's not seeing reality. Well, what are the things they're doing?
I think some people are just real closed-minded to the point where they can't see everything. Some people are focused on, either making money or, a certain lifestyle that they want to chase, and they're not open to, different perceptions, different views, different opinions. And a lot of older people too. A lot of older people are stuck in their ways, where they just don't see any other ways.
Right. And when you think about it, personal worth, again, y'all, we keep talking about personal worth, but personal worth is not based on the reflection from a person who is in dysfunction. And that is important because we hear the word dysfunction all the time. So, pride and denial. All right, we're talking about pride and denial go hand in hand. If you pride or in denial, it keeps us from being teachable. Digging, think about it. This is why young people now is not even in the position of even coming to hear no one talk.
Right.
And not just young people, but a lot of your peers. It's called pride. If you are filled with pride or in denial, it's going to keep you from being teachable. And we see problems happen in our lives because of that. Let's reflect on that. Let's reflect on whether it's young, middle age, or adults. When a person is full of pride or if they're in denial, they're not teachable. Think of people that's just, they're in denial that they need help. So guess what? They're not teachable. Can you relate that in any other way, Deacon?
No, I think this, I look at the way the culture of this country is right now. And I think the culture is dysfunctional. We have allowed the government, we have allowed society, we have allowed trends to shift our thinking and our mentality when it comes to raising kids, when it comes to your job, when it comes to all aspects of life. I'm not surprised that the young generation are not picking on, the 25-year-olds and that generation, but you guys are a victim of the way this country is going. It's the culture in this country, So a lot of pride. Sometimes, in some cases, not owning up, and in some cases, entitlement.
So let me ask you this, Brook-Lyn. Deacon Jones and myself, we can go back to Jimmy Carter. He was big in the 70s, so we can probably go to Jimmy Carter. When you think about in 63, we were just babies, so we can't really say too much about JFK, all right? But we can say Jimmy Carter, probably Jimmy Carter. So we can go from Jimmy Carter all the way up to Donald Trump. You're 25, so my son and you are a couple of years apart. So the first person my son voted for was a black president. Did you fall in that category, or you was able to vote for, who was before him?
Before Bush. Bush was before Obama.
So you didn't have a chance to vote for Bush?
No.
So let's talk to the audience. Think about it, y'all. Most of the children, adults that's 25 and younger or older? Older, their first first president was Barack Obama.
25 and
Younger.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
A black man. So their whole worldview and whole ideology will be different.
Absolutely.
Even from my era, definitely my parents' era and my grandparents' era, a black president was not even that's not gonna ever happen. So when that happened in your life, was that a big deal to you? Honestly, you're 25, not to bring up any past or failures, but you had a child before then, correct? So you was busy trying to be a mom. You was busy trying to feed your family, right? What did that mean to you?
From a standpoint of being like a black person, a black woman, it was good to see someone in office, but I don't really follow politics a whole lot, so it didn't mean a whole lot to me. I know it means a lot to my grandpa, who's from a different era than I am, so of course it means a little bit more to him, but it didn't mean a whole lot to me. I was happy, I was proud, but personally it was, I didn't lose sleep over it.
No tears and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I bet a lot of people say that. So when you hear terms like, this Donald Trump guy is just different, do your generation even care about that? You being 25 right now, trying to make a living, trying to better your life, what does a Donald Trump presidency mean to you? And this show is not about Republicans, it's not about endorsing Democrats, it's not about independents, it's just allowing young views to share their thoughts along with our views, and then we can have a conversation. We have to learn how to have conversations, because conversation is what's healthy and allows us to hear other people's worldview, okay? So when you think about Donald Trump as our president, what's your thought about that? Without thinking about what your granddaddy said or what Deacon said, from your world, what is Donald Trump to you like?
I mean, you see the difference between, you know, what Obama was trying to do or just presidents before him to where he took it. He's a bit more narcissist than you know.
Now break down narcissist for those who may not know what that means.
Just very manipulative, very one-sided, not for everyone, not for other people, very selfish. Controlling.
Judgmental.
Yeah.
So he's all those things
Shame.
called shame?
And then some, and then some. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he's not a nice guy.
You don't think he's a nice guy?
He's not very good looking either.
Not very good looking either. Okay. Okay, all right. So when you think about this, y'all, think about it. Pride is shame-based. Now look at pride. This is the problem with pride. This is why Jesus had an issue with pride. This is why pride is mentioned in the Bible. This is what caused Lucifer to get kicked out of heaven. Look what happened when you pride. Pride is shame-based. It blocks knowledge. My people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. When you fill with pride,
No one can tell you anything.
nobody can tell you anything.
Mm-hmm.
So can you imagine being in a relationship with somebody who has full of pride? You can't even talk. You can't even communicate. Without communication, then it's over.
Right.
Have you ever dealt with that on your job, Deacon?
All the time. All the time. And because we're on Facebook Live, I'm going to leave names out of it.
Leave names out of it, absolutely.
But yeah, it's a lot of pride at the job. A lot of pride. You know, see it every day. And I believe that I was filled with a lot of pride, surprisingly, you know, growing up. And then when I joined the military, they kind of broke that down a little bit. And I seen life in a different perspective. And then when I came back home, you know, I applied what I learned, and you know, then all of a sudden I got saved, and you know, joined the church, Emmanuel, and then the rest is history. And now that's why I'm a great guy to this day.
There's
DJ.
Little jab. I felt it.
That's why I'm a great guy to this day.
See, I was perfect. I
My
said great.
man. Yeah. So if we, Brook-Lyn and Deacon, had to say pride 1 through 10. 1 through 10. Meaning 10 being
very
the highest,
prideful. Okay.
and 0. What would be your number?
A 1.
10. That's boy now.
You said 10?
What was your question? Ask the
Very
question again
prideful.
one more time.
Pride, if you feel you're full of pride, it'd be 10 all the way down to
It used to be a 10. I think I'm about a 3.
3.
Yeah.
So, but you would say you were about 10 at one time?
At one time, yes.
Really?
Yes. I was that bad. Yes.
Ooh.
My family knows. Yeah, I was like.
Why would you,
couldn't tell.
so why, how did you become that? Even though we're going to talk about that, how you become that? We're looking at a pretty balanced home.
Yeah.
Mom, dad,
Yeah.
great family.
Yeah.
Y'all had the traditional, almost a Huxtable kind of thing. Your dad was a businessman. Your mom was at home, take care of the family.
Yeah.
A lot of folks looked up to your family. How you get, and you were not the oldest, you were the second to the oldest.
Right.
Why would you
Well,
say that?
I think it was because of the peers that I was around. You know, we all kind of, you know, held each other up, and we were actually highly favored, you know, in the school. You know, we weren't bullies, but we thought we were just the king of the hill. You know, we all thought that. All the guys that I grew up with, that was in that clique.
Okay.
You know,
And then that may not be really pride.
well,
You just have high self-esteem.
high self-esteem, and I think, well, I mean, I think it was quite a bit of pride. in
Okay,
it,
well,
too.
if you say so, I
think
ain't gonna.
I think
so.
so.
Couldn't nobody tell you nothing back there, DJ? Deacon? Are you telling
As far
me?
as mom and dad, that's different. But out on the street,
Your okay, okay,
no,
you probably.
no, I knew it all. You couldn't tell
Really?
me nothing. That's why I say when I got in the service, they broke a brother down.
Brook-Lyn, where you
They
be
broke
at?
brother
At
down.
25. Where, if you had to say from 10 to 0, where would you say?
I'd say about a 3.
So you don't see yourself as being prideful?
No.
Do you think your generation is more prideful than the next generation?
No, I think my generation is more humble than the next generation, but they're both prideful in their
Really?
own ways.
When you say next, you're talking about the older ones or the younger
The
ones?
younger ones.
What about the older ones? Do you think the pride declines we get older, or the pride increase as they got younger?
Pride in what way? Pride in knowing a lot, or pride in having a lot?
The pride of being unteachable.
Unteachable. They're very prideful, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is the decline, the black church is in a major decline? Why would you say your age bracket doesn't really attend church? Now, I have a son your age, and I talk to him all the time about that. He's very, very interesting. Matter of fact, I need to get him on the show. He's a camera guy today, but I love to hear how you think, because that keeps me balanced. But why would you say it's declining? I mean, if you look around, you don't see a lot of the young people going to church.
Right.
Why is that?
I feel that a lot of people feel in order for them to attend church, you have to want to, find something, find yourself, find God, find the Word, find whatever it is. And in order to find that, you have to give something up. And I don't think they're willing to give up the lifestyle that they're living or that they know to be told that, what they're doing isn't the right way, or that there is another way, or that people are here to help you. People get stuck in their survival mode and what they know and how they were brought up, that they're not willing to open up to see, another way.
Well, obviously, I got to know who you were once I found out who your biological father was. But my question to you is, didn't know you, age bracket, you're young enough to be my child. What was it that caused you to walk into a former school building that was actually a church, and then you've been going to Bible class since? What was it that made that 25-year-old single lady raising a baby, a son? What made you do that? Who was the one that influenced that, and how'd that happen?
I think I actually just found the church at a time in my life when I was trying to find myself, trying to figure things out. Now
I want you to keep going, don't lose your thought, but I hear that all the time. What does it mean to be trying to find yourself?
I was just thinking the same thing.
Because I hear that all the time in your age bracket. What do you mean find are you lost?
I would think I was, yeah.
25 and I'm lost. And I need to find myself. I hear that all the time from your age bracket. I'm trying to find, well, how you get lost?
Somewhere down the line.
I mean, you only been here for 25 years.
Probably like the 18th year.
18th year.
College.
Does that mean that you're trying to find your purpose?
Yeah.
Or,
yeah.
Why you're here?
The purpose, who I am, what it is I can do.
Okay.
Okay,
so go ahead. So you was lost, trying to find yourself. Keep going.
And I think just growing up in a church home, I've always felt, comfortable with church people. A lot of people see church people as fake and negative, but I know that there are church people who are genuine and that care if you, find the right home and you find the right people. And then I saw my younger brother, trying to figure things out for himself, and he ended up in your church, and, he was on a good track, and so I just gave it a chance.
And for those,
she's
referring to Elijah. And to this day, shout out to you, Elijah. I miss you. I miss talking to you. And so basically, you saw him, you saw what he was going through, and you saw his life changing, and that inspired you. Amazing. Now, how much were you involved in his life before then?
My brother and I, we didn't grow up close.
Wow. But you knew that was your brother. See, that's amazing. Y'all
I
hear
know
that?
from anybody.
Huh?
I'll pick him out from the crowd.
You can pick him out, yeah. Well, I can see that. Okay. So you came to find yourself.
Yes.
And how are you doing on that journey?
There's some bumps in the road, but I keep trucking, keep it moving.
DJ, at 25, man, were you trying to find yourself? Where were you at 25,
I was
DJ?
Lost at 25.
See, it's possible.
It wasn't no
I told
finding nothing. When I was 25, I think I was, actually trying to figure out what I was going to do in life. I wouldn't say trying to find myself, because it was just about, just working and just trying to keep my head above water at that point.
If you follow me on Facebook, I do go back and look at your comments after the show is over. Definitely on Mondays I do that. So I like to hear what your response are. Where were you at 25? Did you know where you were at? Because what I do is I compile all the information, and that's how I create a database. So, if you're able to make your name not show up, that's fine. But whatever. if you got time to just type in at 25, I was lost or I was good, or share those things so we can keep this dialogue together. Because at 25, you were completely lost, DJ.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. When I was 25 years old, I was, I was back here. I was actually, in the reserve unit, and I was working. So I wouldn't say I was lost. I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't really know my purpose because I wasn't thinking like that. Mm-hmm. I just knew that I needed to get a job and take care of myself. That's pretty much what I know I needed to do. Mm-hmm. So I think it was a different time then. 25. When I was 25, if I was 25 now, I'd probably be thinking the same thing Brook-Lyn was thinking.
So Brook-Lyn, are you telling me that whether we believe in God or not, on this show we believe in God and we thank God for God, mm-hmm. but you would say the majority of people are trying to find purpose for living. Mm-hmm. They know it's more than going to work every day. Mm-hmm. They know it's more than a paycheck.
Correct.
They know it's more than a bill. What they're saying is there's something more to life mm-hmm. than just this. Mm-hmm. And we look to the church to find that answer.
Find an answer. Find an answer. Maybe that answer leads you, somewhere else. It's a journey. At the end of the day, it's just a stop.
So in your 25 mindset, and I know you at our church, and you've been a great person. Mm-hmm. With the knowledge that you know, what is your definition of when this is all over? What's your think about it? When this is all over, what happens to us?
I think we reconnect with our loved ones.
And do what?
I don't know. I think it's another world up there.
Up there?
Mm-hmm. Up there.
Very interesting. Mm-hmm. I don't have a comment. I just like to hear.
Who knows?
I just like to hear people's thought. There's another world up there. Mm-hmm. And why can't they just come back down here?
It's not the same world.
Not the same world. Mm-hmm. Okay. Good. You want to share something?
No.
We're going to keep going. Right. The show is allow people to express their teaching and their belief, and at the end, we may try to bring some conclusion. So when you look at the shame, they block knowledge, and then they keep people above all people. Mm-hmm. Shame people they keep me above all people. I am above you, and as long as I'm above you, then I don't have to listen to you.
Right.
And that's pretty dangerous. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs to have accountability to somebody. Then they get to a point where I presume myself as God. And if you notice, a lot of us are going in that direction where a lot of us see themselves as little GODs. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of dangerous. Mm-hmm. I understand the concept of seeing yourself as a God, meaning, you're not going to be controlled. But you got to be very even careful with that statement, because if you were God, then you should be fixing some of these problems. And God has the ability to do things that humans just can't do. Mm-hmm. I don't care what kind of God you are. Even right. Zeus, they were doing some stuff that we couldn't do. Mm-hmm. But these young people who call themselves gods, we have to be very careful, because we don't want to put ourselves in a position of shame. Then they start, here's a key right here. I start to serve myself. When you are filled with that shame, it becomes all about you. And we hear that all the time. It's all about me. It's all about what's going to make me happy. So with that being said, let's identify self-rejection. We have a lot of people that go through self-rejection. I listen to people all the time in counseling. I hear it wherever we pass. Self-rejection. Now listen to this. People who reject themselves, I want you to think about this. And if you like just throw in your comments, I love to go back and read your comments. People who reject themselves diffuse criticism by putting self down. If you put yourself down, then you don't have to worry about somebody
else doing it.
Doing it. Mm-hmm. Does that happen in life? Do you see that happening? And so I ain't got to worry about you hurting me. I hurt myself.
Right.
I ain't got to worry about you talking about me, so I'll talk about myself. Mm-hmm. Does that happen? Mm-hmm. That's a self-rejection.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta do something about that. Mm-hmm. You can't hurt me because I already hurt myself.
Right.
So would you say that a lot of this whole self-destruction is because of our own self-rejection? Would you say that whole self-destruction, hurting ourselves, is because we're self-rejected?
I think that has something to do with it. Yes.
Was there a time?
But it seems like it's a little deeper than that, though.
Yeah.
Was there a time that you personally hurt yourself, Deacon? Whether it's physical or?
No, just no, I don't remember.
What about you?
No.
Tissue right there, just in case you need it.
Not right now. Maybe if I maybe didn't. So say I had my head set on a decision and I let someone convince me otherwise. Maybe
Okay.
in that kind of sense, or maybe I stuck around in a certain situation for too long, and I hurt myself that way. But physically hurt now.
So if anybody have any analogies or answers when that happened to you, where you can't hurt me because I've already did it. You can't talk about me because I've already talked about myself. You can't make fun of me because I've already made fun of myself. Have you ever noticed somebody that's always on themselves to prevent someone from doing it? Mm-hmm. It don't hurt as bad if you say it about yourself. Mm-hmm. But when someone else says it, it hurts more. Mm-hmm. Self-depreciating humor to protect ourselves. You ever heard that before?
Yeah, talking to somebody like that too, it can be draining. It can be draining to you, emotionally and mentally. Somebody that's always down on themselves or putting themselves down, and it's almost like they take the life out of you.
Right.
Because they've already took the life
But it
out
ain't
of
about
themselves.
you now.
But it's not.
So
Right.
something wrong with them.
Something is wrong
We gotta
with
figure out
them.
how to help them.
Right.
If somebody always talking about themselves
In a
that's-
negative way?
Yes, that's
Right.
self-depreciating.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or they crack jokes about themselves.
Because the natural reaction to me, if I was talking to somebody like that, I would try to boost them up. But if they're always tearing themselves down, then I'm gonna go in the other direction because that's all they're gonna do.
Wow, you're good.
I don't want to talk to them.
I mean, let's think about that. Just think about people who and if you're following us and listening to us, you don't have to acknowledge it, but my heart goes out to you. If you're one of those individuals that's just constantly talking about yourself, that's a major sign. It is.
Yes, I know.
I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. That's called self. I want you to stop self-depreciating yourself. And they use humor.
Right.
They call it self-depreciating humor. They'll crack a joke. Like, for an example, I had and still do a stuttering problem. I'll give you an example of a self-depreciating humor. I never had that problem, but I'll give you an example. So all of you that went to Dudley with me, between 80 to 84 or something. No, not Dudley. No, 70. I'm sorry, in the early 70s. Right, it'll be the 70s. If you went to Dudley with me, y'all know I stuttered. This is what you call self-depreciating. I would come up to you and make fun of my own stuttering before you laugh at me. Mm-hmm. Now, I never had that problem. I stuttered, they laughed, we laughed together. I wasn't tripping. That my mama taught me well. But that's the best example that I can give you. How many of us are so ashamed of ourselves that we put our shame on people? When we were kids, Deacon, back then we were all into acne. We didn't want to have bumps. And man, y'all, we went through all kind of self-depreciating humor, cracking jokes about yourself. We want to change that. Here's another thing is, if I reject myself, I am not satisfied with my self-image. You're 25 years old. You look like you're doing very well in my eyesight. But if you had expectations, Brook-Lyn, on where you want life to be, have your self-image changed because you want us to see you in another level and you're not there?
Has my self-image changed?
Yeah. Are you where you want to be at 25?
No.
Does that affect your self-image then?
I don't know. I feel like my self-image has gotten better over the years. So
Why would you say that? What would you credit that to?
just my self-esteem, my confidence,
How did you build
things
that up?
things that I accomplish.
Okay.
So whether I've always been good in school, always gotten good grades, and then I have my son, and he brings joy to everyone's lives. But just confidence, raising my confidence, being more mindful of how I walk around the world.
Okay. And I don't want to get into too much of family legacy, but I don't know too much about mom's side. But
Okay.
I will say the Glass side, all the Glasses that I knew were very smart students. Okay, and so that's a piece of that's a piece of a genetic gift they have. They were not just smart people, but many were star athletes, which would be your actual blood, because of who your father is. So that doesn't surprise me. Then obviously, if your granddaddy, that other side of the family, then they're pretty smart. So you kind of had it made in that area. Okay, so now we talked about something in a private conversation, which I think we could talk about it openly. You started your journey in school, right?
Correct.
And you did not finish it.
Correct.
So did that have a major impact on your life?
I think so.
Where are you at now?
As far as what?
In that journey, what year did you stop? How far did you go?
So when I return, I'll be a junior.
You'll be a junior. So you were in school, and then one day you just walked out?
No, I think after I had my son, I tried the online thing, but I didn't have discipline at the time.
Okay.
And so it kind of just slowly faded out.
What was you majoring in?
Accounting.
Accounting. You pretty good with numbers?
Yes.
Really? Wow. So do you see yourself going back on that road?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll finish.
Okay. You go back to Western. Were you at Western?
Western
Okay.
Michigan.
All right. Okay. Well, you know what? We really want you to pursue that, and we want you.
I want to.
We want you to. What's some of the barriers now that keeps you from going back on that journey?
Well, one, I felt like when I first started going for accounting, I was going more so because other people said I was good with numbers and I should go for accounting, not because all my life I wanted to be an accountant or because I saw myself going for accounting. It just made sense at the time. And coming out of high school, you don't really know, what you're gonna get into. So I kind of went that route.
What year?
2012.
You
I
went to
graduated.
Bakery Central?
Lakeview.
You went to Lakeview? Oh, you went to Lakeview. Oh.
I'm a Spartan, yes sir.
You a Spartan?
I wasn't the Spartan, but I'm a Spartan, yeah.
And so you were kind of, you weren't all, you were kind of balanced. It was like black and white, right?
Yep.
Well-rounded? What year again?
2012.
2012, so ain't too long ago, but was it, would you say it's more African Americans now than it was then, or is it more then?
When I was going,
Yeah. Like racial-wise, were you like one of the only blacks, or you had like 5, 6, 7 blacks?
in like classrooms, I'd be one of the very few.
Yeah.
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 If not the only one.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I think I've only had the one black teacher out of all the years I was at Lakeview. One black teacher.
So you
It was
were,
a woman.
You were trained by white people. Okay. Why are y'all laughing?
Because
The
that's
way
how
you
you
said
said it.
No, I was just asking the question.
They were white,
okay.
yes, they were white.
I just asked the question. I ain't trying to be funny. I'm just asking the question.
No, it's just how you said it.
Yeah.
No, actually, this Kool-Aid, red Kool-Aid, got me choked up.
Okay.
Okay, because that's not a big deal. I was taught by all white people too at Dudley. That means, again, we have lack of African American teachers.
Correct.
And that has nothing to do with no type of racist statement or has anything to do with attacking people. I'm trying to understand her. I'm trying to figure out how you got there. So to know you, I got to know your history.
Right.
So you went through all basically a white school system. Lakeview's a good school. I'm not hating on Lakeview at all. So don't take it that I'm hating on Lakeview. I'm not hating on Lakeview. I'm not hating on Central. I'm not hating on Penfield,
No.
Creek,
Battle Creek, Harbor Creek,
St. Phil.
St. Phil. I'm not hating on none of those schools. I'm just kind of sharing the facts. So somebody in the school system or some of your guardians suggested you should become an accountant because you're good with math, arithmetic. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Somebody basically said this is what you should
And
do.
I didn't think it was a horrible idea, so it was like, oh, okay, well, we'll see.
And the goal was to become accountants for a firm?
I'd have my own firm. I don't see myself working for someone.
Really? I like that. I like that. Okay, so you end up going to Western Michigan. You went 1 year. No, but your first year you went, and how things go for you?
My first year was pretty okay. My roommate was pretty nice. And
Okay.
I got along with her friends and kind of just
Okay.
merged.
So what was that caused you to get off track?
I got pregnant.
I mean, but how that, I mean, we know how that happened.
We know how that happened.
But I'm saying, was he at Western Michigan too?
He didn't attend, but he was very much there.
Okay. All right, so that's what happened.
You asked the question.
Okay, so he was, okay, I got you. So
I had my.
So
I
you created a social life while you were on campus, basically. Because when you're in school, you're supposed to be in the dorm, you're supposed to be in class, you're supposed to be sleeping,
I did all of that.
but then you somehow created a social life
After I did all of that.
after you did all of that. So you still was getting good grades. Okay. Okay, then boom, you get pregnant, you have a baby, and then that's when you stop.
Yep. Yeah. I tried to do the online thing, but it didn't work out.
Too much challenge, huh? Okay. All right. So
I
now your goal is in the next 2 years to go back in school, your next year,
In the next
semester.
the next semester.
Awesome.
So is that what you really want to do?
To go back to school?
To be an accountant?
No. But I figured finish.
You gotten this far with
Yeah.
it, then?
Yeah. It's something to bounce back on.
You can't transfer those classes to another major?
I'm gonna go see about all of that.
Yeah.
I haven't asked the right questions.
Yeah. I mean, you can still always get business administration.
Right.
I'm for sure that's definitely able.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
I got a question for Brook-Lyn. So if that's not where your heart is, even though you want to finish your degree, what do you want to do? You want to be an entrepreneur, because you did say that you want to own your own business.
Right.
What is the ideal thing for you to do? What is the ideal business?
Ooh,
for
the
you to
ideal.
own?
I don't know. I don't know about the ideal business because there's so much I want to do that I haven't said. Well, this is first. This is second. You know, or this is a big picture.
Okay.
But there's a lot that I do want to do.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's not accounting.
Okay.
So
But
Brooklyn,
accounting will help me. You know, I figure.
so
I
Brooklyn,
can't-
what is that thing you like to do that if you do it for free, because it's just your passion? What is that passion that if money wasn't an issue, you just love to do it? What is that skill set that you just love to do?
I take pictures.
You take pictures. Okay. So you photograph, all that kind of stuff? That's what you do? Do you have any work?
No, I'm practicing. I just got a camera and a lens, but everything's expensive. It costs a lot, so.
But that's what you
I'm
like to
working
do. That
I
just,
take pictures for people all the time. I take pictures for India smoothies, you know, people when they're out, if we travel.
that's what you enjoy doing. Okay. So let's look at some more of these identifying self-rejection. And the reason why we did this today, because talking to a lot of individuals, I've been asked that a lot of people struggle with that whole self-rejection thing. And so we want to try to clarify some things. Here's something they call a rebel. A rebel, if I am normal, you may reject me. Now listen to this, Deacon and Brook-Lyn. If I am normal, you may reject me. If I'm outlandish, you will reject me. But it is about something outside. So everything's about my appearance, action. Now watch this. I can blame you for rejecting something I do on purpose. I can't handle it if you reject me for who I am. And so what happens is we live in a world where we all create a facade. Because I don't mind you talking about an image, because it ain't me anyway. But I'm afraid of you really talking about the real me. And so the question becomes, how long do it take in a relationship that you really get to know the real person? Because we all got these filters, man. We all, in the church, there's a shield in the church. That person you see on Sunday, not the real you. Think about it. And if I talk about that, well, that's cool, because that ain't the real me. But the real me, and this is why a lot of people do not ever feel comfortable of being transparent and showing who they really are, because if you really find out the real you and you get talked about, it hurts you. And so to this day, as you deal with people every day, Deacon, and as you interact with people, are we really talking to the real them?
Most of the time, no. I think everybody puts on that corporate, professional, whatever your job is, face. And then when you get off work, when you're at home amongst your family, you're a different person. You can relax. I think that's an acceptable facade, if you want to say, because you have to conduct and say and do things a certain way at work. And then when you get home, you know, you are who you are.
Right.
And so, but I don't know if you can put a number on how many years it would take you to get to know your spouse completely, because, you know, as people grow older, they change and different things happen. So, you know, when you first start dating someone, all you see is the, you know, the good stuff. And then, you know, as you start to date them and things go on, you start seeing other things that you may not like. And so you have to make a decision whether you want to keep going or do the Heisman and go the other way.
Right.
So, you know, everybody does that, I think, to some degree.
But that's from a counselor point of view, that's sad, because that means no one really like who they are.
Well,
Why won't you show the real you?
when you first start dating someone,
We ain't talking about dating.
okay,
Why you want?
in general, you say in general.
Yeah, why we won't show our real self?
If I show my real self at Kellogg, I wouldn't have a job. I would not have a job. If I got
So our camera lady said the fear of being judged, which is true.
no, I wouldn't say that.
Okay, well let's deal with her says the fear of being judged, and then if I'm judged on truth, it hurts more, which is what I just said.
Right. Okay. So
that means
let's
we
say,
don't like ourselves.
No, I doubt that. I love me.
Why would you fear being judged
love who I
unless
am.
it's bad?
Chanel, what are you talking about?
5 minutes.
On 5 minutes already? That went too fast. Well, y'all should be fearing me judging y'all, because y'all ain't counting right now. Look, y'all. Okay, well, hey, my time is up, DJ. I didn't know we had the time up. I'm so sorry that we couldn't finish this up. I will, and I like to end by saying, shame is the cornerstone. And you know how important the cornerstone is. Rejection is the foundation. And the house we live is critical and judgmental. If your house is critical and judgmental, it's because the cornerstone is shame, rejection, and foundation. And get out that house or start rebuilding again. All right? I'm sorry. This is part of that dialogue where we're all supposed to share something, but you got 1 minute if you'd like to say something encouraging to your followers, to your peers. You got 1 minute. Just say something, Brook-Lyn.
I just think everybody ought to come to a point where they connect back to themselves, figure themselves out. Because if not, you'll ruin a lot of relationships and miss a lot of opportunities in the meantime.
I like that. Deacon, 1 minute.
Yeah, I met Brook-Lyn since she's been coming to Kingdom Builders, and always smiling, always very bright, always got that, you know, very, you know, nice personality, and it seems like you light up a room when you walk in. And your son, I mean, he's a ball of fire. I love that little guy. A lot of energy. We had a conversation about him this morning, and
Never stops.
It never stops, never stops. But he's going to do great things when he gets older.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, look, audience, thank you for following us. Please just send me some little notes. I'll go back and retrieve it. But remember, when we are shame-based, okay, we feel locked in, helpless, and hopeless. There is no healthy shame, okay? Guilt that lasts for more than 72 hours is shame. Gotta let it go. Gotta let it go. Guilt is triggered by our consciousness. The subconscious has no conscience. So we choose not to dwell on the negative, loading in the subconscious. We choose to bring to consciousness awareness of what is right. So let's keep living, as Brook-Lyn said. Let's work on ourselves. Let's not be ashamed of who God made you, but reach out to your source and become better. I always end by acknowledging my ancestors, my grandfather on my mother's side, Lil Dell Perry Sr., and my grandmother, Ruby Elizabeth Perry. I know my aunt's probably watching me. Love you, Annabelle. Mwah. And of course, my lovely mom is with me. Thank God for her, Mother Georgia Lee Howard Perry. On my father's side, Edward West Smith. I tell everybody where I got my name from. And Gussie Smith, who looked just like Yvonne. That's my cousin on the camera. Looked just alike, I tell you. And my father, the great late Hugh Smith Sr. Listen, y'all. Let's stay in the network. Let's keep working together. Let's keep learning who we are so God may bless you. God bless you. Let's pray together. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this show. We thank you for this moment. I pray, God, a special blessing upon Brook-Lyn. And God, the direction that she's going forward. Get her back in school. Let her find her assignment so she can do what she's gifted to do. And the talent and the desire that she has in taking photos, pictures, open the door for her so she may fly and do what she called to do. Continue to bless our city. Continue to bless all the leaders and all the people in this community. Black, white, male, female, whatever nationality. Love everyone so we can become a better place. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
If we just let it be, no, 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 no. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it, yeah, just you and me. Change it, yeah, change it, yeah. Just you and me. Change it, yeah, change it, yeah. Can't do it alone, can't do it alone. I need some help.
AccessVision, your voice, your community.
Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backwards thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There's so much hatred, war and poverty. Oh, wake up all the teachers, time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say. They're the ones who's coming up, and the world is in their hands. When you teach the children, teach them the very best you can. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. No, 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 no. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it, yeah, just you and me. Wake up all the doctors, make the old people well. They're the ones who suffer and who catch all the hell. They don't have so very long before their judgment day. Won't you make them happy?